Welcome to episode 2 of Carbs and Cars. Christian West, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Mate, what an absolute pleasure to have you here. Give us a bit of a brief background about yourself.
Always loved cars. Since I was 2, I was very into number plates. So always car obsessed, and I wasn't very good at school. I was never going to be a doctor or anything, so I thought, what can I do that'll enable me to have the cars that I want? Ended up falling into real estate. So, real estate agent, there's plenty of us around.
Plenty, definitely. There definitely is.
But mate, no, I just, I work, I play a lot of tennis, but mainly, yeah, cars are my vice, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been a real estate agent for?
I started 12 years ago.
Yep.
As an assistant. Actually, as I was sitting my HSC, I did work experience.
Yep.
I met someone very influential in the game at a dinner party, and he offered me work experience. And that was it. From there, I got a call while I was at schoolies, and he offered me a job. I said yes. The week before I went to schoolies, I used to take, my first ever car was a Honda I-30, had a little pod filter in it.
Yeah, of course.
Thought it was the coolest thing. I could chirp second gear sometimes.
Yeah.
And I used to take it to Sutton's, where Dad bought it from. And they did free car washes. This is back in like 2010, 2011. Every time I'd go every weekend, and every time I'd be there to wash the car, I'd go into the HSV dealership. And after the second weekend of going in there, I was looking at all the cars, and one of the car sales guys walks over to me, and I was 16, 17 years old. And he asked me something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I knew more about the car than he did, and he was just quite impressed. And he called me back the next weekend and offered me a job, and had like a full contract for me, and said, when you finish your HSC, I'd love to have you here selling cars. And I had no expectation of passing my HSC, so I was like, maybe not a bad option.
Yeah.
And then the same week that happened, I got accepted into university, the early acceptance in Bathurst, to do advertising. So it was like a whirlwind, all happened at once, meeting John McGrath and schoolies and work experience. And anyway, ended up going down with real estate, and I'm so glad I did.
Haven't looked back since.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
And the freedom's amazing.
Yeah, of course. And you seem like a people person, who just really gets along with anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough for the first 7-8 years, like any business is, but then it gets really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Tell us about this beast we got here.
So this is my 12th car.
Yep.
I love them.
Yep.
And even if I love something, I kind of, after 12 months, I just want to try something new.
Yeah.
But this is the third Beamer I've had. Sorry. Fourth BMW I've had. I had the 1M.
Yep.
Which I loved. The year I came off my P's, I got a 1M Coupe in white.
Yep.
I then got the next BMW. I had a few cars in between. Then I had a M2 Comp in the same colour. Then a black M2 Comp. And I've had this for just over 18 months. I sold my last M2 Comp because I lost my licence for 8 months.
Okay.
And I just couldn't have it sitting down in the basement.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be too tempted, so I sold that. And when I got my licence back, I wanted a 911, but insurance was very difficult.
They'll be a pain, won't they?
Yeah, so I thought I'd bide my time with another M3, or at least another Beamer, and I never had an M3, a bit more space, and it's just so much fun. Nothing heavily done to it, just pads, fluids, springs, intake and tune.
Yeah.
It doesn't need any more than that.
It really doesn't. It is.
No.
They are a weapon of a car.
It eats tyres like nothing else as well.
They do.
Yeah.
And what, in terms of like, so you had a Hyundai i30 with the pod filter.
Yeah.
Where'd you go from there?
So I've loved all my cars. I still talk to all my best mates. There's like a group of 8 of us, 9 of us, and we're all friends just because of cars.
Yeah.
And, we still talk about some of the early day cars, and I've loved all of them. So from the Hyundai, I had a Fiesta XR4.
Yeah.
Which they weren't very common.
Not at all.
They were these little hatchbacks. It had the pinstripes down the middle.
Yeah.
But
of course.
Which doesn't sound like it looks that cool, but back then it was black with the grey stripes.
Yeah.
and I just had an exhaust on that. It was a 2-litre
Yeah.
in a car that weighed like, I think it was 1,040 kilos.
Okay.
And it handled unbelievable. It used to get lift off. First car I had that had lift off oversteer.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a real drive at this stage, but it was a fast car. It was like, I think it was 115 kilowatt, but 280 newton meters.
Yeah.
But the thing was fast, and
Yeah.
it revved to like 7,500, which was quite a lot.
Yeah. And when
back
they don't
then.
weigh anything, they just
Oh no,
just
I
take
loved
off.
that car.
Yeah.
It was like a mosquito. You could cut through traffic, gaps, anything. It was such a fast car around the street. So I loved that. Then I got a Toyota 86 when they
Nice.
first came out
Yep.
in 2012.
Yep. What colour?
It was white.
Nice.
I remember signing the contract at Mossman Toyota. I was making $45,000 a year, and the car was $42,000. But I was like, oh, fuck it, life's short.
You have
Who
to do
cares?
it. Yeah, exactly.
And it was so I loved that car.
Yeah.
That car taught me, I do a lot of driving and
Yeah.
a bit of racing and stuff, and that car taught me everything.
Yeah.
I loved that car. Again, just intakes on that. Didn't need anything else. Manual GTS. So I had the LSD.
Yep. It's a very fun car.
Oh my god, I love that car, especially
Yeah.
in the rain. It felt like
Yeah.
it doubled the horsepower.
Yeah, yeah.
It had these skinny little tyres on it, and no, I loved that thing.
It's funny. A friend of mine had one. Daniel. He had one when they just came out.
Yeah, the red. I
Yeah.
remember you had a red one.
And it's funny. It felt so fast back then.
They were quick.
It felt like an absolute rocket. I drove one about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, this is not what I remember.
It's all top end.
Yeah.
It's all top end. So I had that, which I loved. From that, I bought a Focus RS, the Mark
Yeah.
4, the 5-cylinder one.
In green.
No, I had blue.
Oh.
Had blue.
But then you
I think
had
it was
a
the
green
Mark
one.
5. Is that the
Okay,
Mark
yeah,
5?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I never had a green one.
Oh.
Never had a green one. I had a blue one.
Okay.
That thing was an animal. Had
Yeah.
that tuned, and I thrash all my cars, but it made 620 newton meters at the wheels.
Wow.
But only made 205 kilowatt.
Wow. Okay.
But the torque was immense.
Yeah.
And I used to build it so much that after the first 2 months, I blew the cats out of the exhaust. And I thought the car was brake. I remember I was driving, and I must hit the limiter that many times. But I was driving, and I could hear this clunking.
Yeah.
And it was like I could literally feel it like going through the
Yeah.
exhaust. And anyway, I just jumped on it. I was going down Avoca Street. I was like, the car's either going to blow up, or
Yeah, of
so I'm
course.
like, I'm just going to give it a hit. And I put in the second, I smashed the throttle, and this thing just blew out the back, and the car, it opened up the exhaust.
Yeah.
Anyway, from that point, it just used to shoot the biggest flames.
Wow.
You'd come off in second, or you'd shift into third, just as it came on boost, and it would put out these. I used to get my mates to drive it just so I
yeah,
could
of
look
course.
at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember this one. I came up through Edgecliff when I had it one night, especially obviously at night. You see the flames a lot more. And as my mate shifted, it popped out these two flames that were like this big out of each exhaust.
Fireball.
And again, at the time, I was like 22. I
Yeah,
thought
of
it was
course.
the coolest thing ever. But I loved that car.
Yeah.
And that handled so well. That was an animal.
Have you driven the new one? The
I have,
Mark,
yes,
Is it
I
a Mark
have.
6 or a Mark 7?
One of Sujoy's mates,
Yeah.
I've driven his one.
Yeah.
And another mate of mine has one, and I've driven that too. Yeah, I just don't like the seating position, that you sit so high.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit...
Yeah.
You almost feel like you're in like a crossover, like
Yeah.
in like a Q3 or something. Like you're like high but not high.
I feel like I'm sitting on the car, not in the car.
Yeah.
And driving position is so important for me.
Yeah, 100%.
But a great car.
Fantastic car.
I loved it.
I think they've nailed it with that.
It was a very good car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, I bought a 350Z
Yeah,
for a
okay.
while. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
A manual 350Z.
Yep.
That was a great car. I just did springs on that. That was actually a great car.
Yeah.
It slid very well, even without an LSD.
Yeah.
Obviously in the wet, it would slide very well. I had that for only about 6 months, and then I bought the 1M Coupe.
Yeah.
I love that car.
So
too.
then you got like the feel for the Euro. And
Yeah,
you got
Euro. I mean,
stuck on.
the Focus. Correct. Once I had that Focus,
Yeah.
because even though it was a Ford, that was made in
of course.
Germany. I think
they
at the
were.
time.
Yeah.
And and also once I had turbo, I was like,
Oh, you can't go back. Yeah.
I've never owned a V8, but I've driven everything.
Yeah.
And I love V8s, but there's just something about having boost.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's another world.
And rear wheel drive. I mean, I've never understood. I don't think, may offend anyone here. I don't know, but I can't see any car enthusiast that thinks all-wheel drive is the way to go. I know you love the Focus RS.
No, forget the Focus RS. I'm actually going to push back on that. I'm originally an Audi boy.
Yeah.
Look,
Audi aren't drivers' cars, in my opinion.
Look, I think you take something like an RS6, RS7.
I love them. They're mad.
Love them. Have you driven one?
Yeah, driven them.
I think it has a place. And I was very much on the Audi side before I went to a BM Merc. So I went four-wheel before I went rear-wheel, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So like P's front wheel, then went to four-wheel, had an S3, and then I sort of went more to the rear wheel after I went to four-wheel. And there's just something about the predictability and the confidence you have in a corner from it. It's less fun. I will give you that. It's less fun.
Yeah.
But there's something about just... I feel you can give it more than you can on something like this, because it's like, well, you just know it's just going to slide.
But that's I think what makes a car fun is it wants to kill. Like,
that's fair.
When cars want to kill you, and they're like,
now I'm more on rear wheel for sure. I had a very strong Audi, a very strong Quattro phase where I was like,
they're great, especially like the RS3, RS5, the V8 RS5. I love that car.
Excellent car, and they sound amazing.
But I think RS7, RS6 is like, I'd buy that for my a wife.
Yeah.
When I get married, I'd buy that for my wife.
Yeah.
But I love them, so I'd still have fun in it. But,
yeah, absolutely.
And you're not going to give her a rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, of course, it's
car like this. But
you don't want something that wants to kill her.
I mean, look, I honestly, my mates and I, we debate all the time. We love so many cars. Like, ideally, I want a 10-car garage.
Oh, absolutely.
And just, I already know exactly what I want in there, but
yeah, of course. We'll get into that in a bit.
There's too many good cars out there.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah.
There really is. So the podcast is called Carbs and Cars. Let's get into some carbs.
That's good with me.
You have brought us some delights.
Yeah, so this
what
is
have you
from
brought
a pop-up store in McPherson Street, Bronte, called Moxie.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been going there. This shirt is very tight on me today, which it wasn't last week.
That's all right.
I've gone 3 or 4 times in the last week to this place, and it's so good. So I just thought I'd pop across the road and grab them.
Let's get into it. These
yes, they are amazing.
These look ridiculous. I know, I actually got a
few serviettes here, mate.
Yeah, nice little stack. If you want a plate, I got a.
Thank you. I told myself last night that I wasn't gonna be bad for breakfast anymore.
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe try some fasting.
Yeah.
Or I just buy some new shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just get bigger shirts. Mate, dig in. Let's get into this. So after the Focus, you had the 1M.
Focus to 350Z to 1M.
Yeah.
From 1M, I went to... What did I have then? I think that's when I got the... got a Golf R.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
How good is that?
Oh my God. What is it?
It's banana. It's like a banana cake, but they've got a bit of caramel and cream and stuff on top.
And you said it's Moxie, right?
It's called Moxie Pastries.
Yeah.
They're a business, but I think they just do pop-ups all around the place. Made that plain croissant.
That's outstanding. Yeah, I'm going to get into that in a minute. That's outstanding.
I almost forgot about that. So I bought a Mark 7 Golf R.
In between the...
After the 1M.
Okay, yep.
Because I had rear-wheel drive and I still love the idea. I went through the stage of, the launch control. When all those cars at that era were coming out with launch control, and a mate of mine had a Golf R and he loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it. He had an IPE exhaust on it with the switchable, the remote valve.
Was it Sujoy?
Yeah, it was Suj.
Okay, cool. And so I almost bought that car.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I bought the exhaust off him. And I loved that thing. So that was stage 1, springs. That's it. And I put the IP exhaust on it.
In white?
Yeah, it was in white.
Yeah, nice.
I loved that car. Even though it was all-wheel drive, I still think for me that's a baby 911 turbo. That's how I see those cars. Through the street, through traffic, I still think that's probably the quickest car I've ever had.
Yeah.
Even at stage 1, that was a fast car.
They're absurd. Yeah.
I loved that thing.
Friend of mine,
the turbo on it.
Yeah.
But
friend of mine's got a S3 Stage 2 Plus. And that thing is disgusting. It is so quick.
They're so underrated.
Yeah, they really are.
So
I can't get over how good that was. That was outstanding.
yeah, I'm croissant's ridiculous too. So yeah, Golf R. I absolutely love that car. But then I miss sliding, so
Yeah, of course.
that's when I bought the M2.
They don't not slide.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not the same though.
it's not the same.
You need a lot of effort, bit of rain,
A lot of space.
a lot of space. You need a lot of space. You do.
Yeah.
You do.
And even then, you can feel the diffs hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an S3 and I did a Haldex tune
Oh, right. Okay.
and
What's that? I
they-
hadn't even heard of that.
So essentially, the Haldex is the rear diff, and essentially it allows you. So naturally, they are. Oh, how good is that?
Oh, my God.
Naturally, they're roughly 60-40 front bias.
Okay.
And this basically makes it an even 50-50. And the specific tune would make it 40-60 bias to the rear under a certain rev range.
Okay.
So it wasn't.
We just changed the dynamics a bit.
Yeah. It wasn't. So like on like new A45 Ford Focus RS, you have drift modes, right? Where it's purely rear. The size of the diff isn't going to allow you to do that from stock. Excuse me. However, it definitely gave it more of a rear wheel with control sort of vibe. Not like rear wheel though.
No. There's nothing like
No,
rear drive.
no.
It's just the best.
So then you got the 1M, which
No, M2 Comp. After the Golf R.
and then you got the 1M.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, Focus RS, 350Z, 1M, Golf R, then M2 Comp.
Okay.
My first
Okay.
one, the white one.
Yep. That's the best plain croissant I've ever had in my life.
I know. It's
Outstanding.
You don't need anything on it. Yes, and that was the first serious car I ever had. I was like, I always dreamt of having a car that made like 500 horsepower at the wheels, or 300 kilowatt. I was like, I feel like that's the perfect number. Now I think like 380, 400 is probably the perfect number. But that car, I did stage 2. It was such an aggressive. It was a boot mod tune. It was so aggressive.
So this is on the 1M, right?
This is on the M2.
The M2 Comp. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. The 1M I had just a custom tune. It was all right. I mean, probably wasn't the best tune, but sounded good.
Yeah.
It was quick, but not that quick.
Yeah.
But no, the M2 Comp was a seriously fast car. Actually, I think the third day I had it, I'd already tuned it.
Wow. Was that in manual or DCT?
DCT.
Yeah.
Bought a demo from Sylvania, so it had like, I think 4,000 Ks on it. So it already had the run-in tune. Then I got a tune, and then a mate of mine's got a GT3 RS, 991.2.
Yep.
Sorry, 991.1.
Yep.
And we had a bit of a race along Sedine Field, and I had about 2-3 car lengths on him, and then was still kind of consistently pulling away.
Yeah. And then stopped at 80 k's an hour, of course.
Yeah, of course.
At the speed limit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 80 k's an
Yeah.
hour. And after that, I was like, well, what more do you need?
What do you need?
You've got a car that is essentially within,
So just bring that a bit closer, please.
like at Wakefield.
Yeah.
You know, it can do a 105 with suspension. They're doing a 104.
Yeah.
Like the GT3 is doing pretty much the exact same time. Yet it's a quarter of the price, really.
Yeah.
It's a quarter of the price because it was about 105,000, I think. But that car was just a beast. So I loved that thing. I blew 2 diffs in it.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, my mistake was, which I learnt, was don't do 4th gear with semi-slicks on, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the semi-slicks that
that just
caused
gets
it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was only, realistically, that was like $2,500 each time.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world comparing to the car.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got rid of that because it had a very hard life. It got to 40,000 Ks and the thing just had enough.
Yeah.
So I sold that, and
Making a note to self to never buy a car off you.
yeah, all my mates joke about that. You'll never know because I always take my plates off before I sell them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah.
from the white one, I bought the black one.
Yeah.
And that was the best looking one, I think. I had the CS bonnet on it.
Yeah.
Not the real one,
Yeah.
but I found a really good non-legitimate one.
Yeah.
The boys at Atlas sprayed it. It looked like it was part of the car. I had Bilstein Club Sports on it.
Yep.
A mate of mine sold them to me off his car. They were amazing. Then another mate of mine...
They make fantastic products.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
The thing was insane. And then another mate of mine for my birthday bought me a harness. So it was full ready for the track.
Yeah, wow.
And then I only ended up doing one track day in it before I lost my license. So
That's a shame.
yeah, I got caught on the Anzac Bridge. I'd been out at Eastern Creek.
Yeah.
I was on my way
okay.
home, and
Yeah.
I still had the...
That's the hardest.
Oh,
You get
because
off-
you're still excited,
Yeah.
and I got caught in the rain. Just slight loss of traction.
81 and an 80.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. But I took it off me for 8 months,
Yeah, wow.
which is a shame. I love that car.
Yeah, that is a shame.
And I sold it at the bottom of the market too.
So like just before COVID?
Yeah, I sold it for like 83,000.
Yeah,
like 8,000
wow.
Ks on it, and
Wow.
it was immaculate.
Yeah.
And then they probably peaked at like 118,
Yeah. It just
120.
skyrocketed. Yeah.
It doesn't matter, whatever.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
Anyone that expects to make money in cars,
No,
really,
it's-
other than the last 2 years,
Oh, yeah, of
No.
course. No, the last 2 years has just been wild. Well, it's the same as houses, I guess.
ridiculous. Yeah.
But it's miles to the gallon, not miles to the gallon.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe people that try to keep the Ks down on their cars.
Yeah. Look. I think there's definitely a place for that. I think if you've got E30 M3, you know what I mean. It's or something very individual like that. Something very you can never get it again. The rest of them on the market have 200,000 Ks on it.
No, fair enough.
Yeah. Like we've got a customer. He's got one. He drives it. It's got 57,000 Ks on it.
Yeah.
E30 M3, and he's got a few other cars, but he definitely drives it and he enjoys it. But if he's going on a road trip, he's not taking that. If
No,
he's going on an
fair
unnecessary drive, it's not taking. He drives it when he wants to drive it, not when it's to the shops.
Yes.
And I think if it's
But-
something like that.
I know people that have got cars like this.
Oh, and they're just like
It's just an F80, no
Yeah.
big deal, and they treat it like it's a F40.
yeah, exactly.
Who cares? You got to enjoy it.
You have to enjoy it.
And
You
they're
have-
built to be driven. All my mates think
Yeah.
I abuse cars. I don't.
No, you not compared to where they what they're engineered to
Mate,
do.
I always say the rev limiter is there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Right.
it really is. And then you had the 1M.
You love this 1M. You keep coming back to this 1M.
I just do.
It was a special car.
Yeah,
It was such a good car.
yeah.
I have some great videos of that car.
It's weird how I've seen a couple.
You've seen a couple, yeah.
It's interesting how it's looking back at that sort of E series 1 series. It's a very sort of simplistic car. It's not overly special.
It was so raw.
But yeah, there's just something about it. The proportions, the thickness of the arches and the rear quarters and the aggressiveness of the front bar. And
I personally think it's like a top 3 best Beamers they ever made.
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
I mean, when Chris Harris buys a car, it's a seriously good car.
Yeah. There's something really special about them. It's wild. There are only 200 of them came to Australia.
Yeah, and a lot were written off too.
A lot have been written off.
They were snappy as those things.
Yeah.
Well, the bloke I sold mine to, he wrote it off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
About 3 months later.
The problem is when you have something like, as we were saying before, just that lightweight, and it's not like overly lightweight, but it's a small car with a massive engine.
It was just the short wheelbase.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing,
you're going to get yourself into trouble.
Yeah, like people that... I think that MDM button
Yeah.
is that I think it's so stupid.
It's the most dangerous. And
I
it's
don't
right in front of
understand
you.
why.
It's
I don't
right in
understand
front
why
of
they
you.
even bothered with it.
Yeah.
Like either turn it off and
Yeah.
learn how to drive without it off, or
Yeah.
don't turn it off at all.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are either scared to turn it off, or when they do, have no idea
And put themselves into
Like,
a
I
terrible
always-
situation.
Absolutely. Like, I've got this habit now of every car I ever get into, whether it's a rental Corolla or something, I turn it off. It's just, the car goes on, even if I'm not being a dickhead. I think it was from, actually, what caused that, when I had the Fiesta, I was in Bondi one day going through, I think it's I don't know, they call it 5 ways or 7 ways or something. You know where the mechanics is down the corner? And I was going through the intersection and my traction was on and I had a little gap to hit and I went to take off and obviously there was a tiny bit of slip in the wheel and it just took the power out of the car, as traction control does. And it just bogged me down. It was fine, but if the guy hadn't hit the brakes or whatever, he would have cleaned me up. And I after that, I was like, I'd rather just do it myself. I'd rather be in control myself. But no, I hate traction control. Anyone turns traction control off, even in these. Well, the first gen that came out, remember how spiky they were? They had to. They dialed back the torque down low because people kept binning them. So funny. I love watching those videos.
Oh, it's hilarious. The M3s have a really special place in history. From the beginning, they've just been a wild car. It's very special. With
the G80, right? A friend of mine just bought the G80. Two of my mates just bought one. One got the rear-wheel drive, which I think that's how an M3 should be.
100%.
This X-Drive, like again, you're going to get that. Go and get an RS4 or something. M3s are supposed to be rear-wheel drive.
It's funny. I find X-Drive is probably the worst four-wheel drive system in comparison to the premium four-wheel drives. If you compare that to 4MATIC and Quattro, I find it's the bottom of the three. And well, I think you've got Audi, Porsche, Mercedes, and then BM is definitely at the bottom there. And I think you put that in a sports car with that sort of X5 sort of technology, and it's clunky. It's not nice. It's just
not heavy. They're just heavy. Really, who cares about a 0 to 100 time? Who cares?
Look, if that's what you want from a car,
then buy a Tesla.
Buy a Tesla, exactly. If you want something that's all round, a race car, great at corners, great at handling, great speed, lower and upper power, you can't, you're looking for the wrong car.
No, I agree. I mean, they're amazing. I like them, but just cars are getting too big and heavy these days.
Massive. Massive. Like we had an F80 M3, same day we had an E30 M3 in the shop. You put them side by side.
The size difference. Same as the 911s. Have you seen? I saw that photo about a year ago of the it was a red 992 in a driveway, and I think it was a 993, even maybe an earlier gen than the 993, and it looks at least 70% bigger.
Wow.
It's wider, high, everything. They're getting big. But that's the way it's going, right? Lightweight's the way.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I got into that croissant mid question.
No, mate, they're so good.
Auto or manual? What's your preference?
Good question. Actually, I just bought it. I just put a deposit down on a new car, and half my mates.
What'd you get?
Bought an Aerial Atom.
Wow, and that is a car.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. It should be here in May. I got the 6-speed manual, and I feel like in a car like that, it should be manual. Half my mates were saying, well, why didn't you just get the sequential? There's no doubt, as a second car, which that will be, I think you have to have a manual. Like a GT3, in my opinion, I think a much funner car in manual. RS, of course, PDK only anyway. I think there's a reason for that, though.
I definitely think there's a reason for that,
So if it was me, if a GT3, I think it has to be manual. I drove a Touring, a 991.2 Touring, a couple of months ago. A mate of mine had one, and I took that for a spin in the wet, and it was like driving one of these. It was so balanced, so predictable, slides so well.
I find all the Porsches are very, very predictable.
They're best cars.
They're extremely well balanced.
I don't care what anyone says. They're the best cars. They are the ultimate car, in my opinion.
The first guest I had on a couple of weeks ago, do you know Will Goss?
Yeah, he actually... I know of him. He came in and spoke with our office, actually, about 6 months ago.
Wow.
So it seems like a really nice guy.
Lovely guy. So
I had no idea he was into cars.
He is.
And then I saw your podcast.
Yeah, he is a fanatic. So he's over here at Bresic Whitney.
Yes.
And it was interesting. He was saying how the natural progression from a BMW enthusiast goes next to Porsche.
There's no other option. There's nothing. And I know a lot of guys and know of a lot of people that have got the 911s, GT3s, whatever, and they've still got an M2 Comp or an M3 at home. Because they're wild cars.
They're very complimentary as well.
Oh, they do everything. But no, mate, 911's the ultimate.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And so would the plan be to have Errol Adam and this, and then get a Porsche?
I have ordered a Porsche almost 2 years ago in January last year, the 992 GTS. It was supposed to arrive in June. I had to push it back because I couldn't get insurance because I'm not 30 yet, and my record's not great. So one of the 13 insurance companies that we reached out to, when I say we, I spoke with a guy in Melbourne. He's a broker. And one of them said, when you turn 30, yes. So I spoke with Porsche, and they've pushed me back.
Are they understanding about that?
Yeah, they were fine. But now this opportunity by this Aerial's come about, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the GDS was something I could definitely track, but also just drive day to day. But now I don't know how I feel about having a car like that just from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I'm ever going to go to the track and not regret being in the Atom.
Yeah, of course.
I think every time I go there, it'd be a wasted opportunity not to be in the Atom.
Yeah.
So
it's a dedicated race car.
Yes.
It's the last thing it is a road car.
Oh, I mean, I have full intentions to drive it every week on the road.
Yeah, of course.
But maybe Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm an idiot, but I don't care how stupid it looks. I bought the extended windscreen so I don't have to wear a helmet everywhere.
There you go. Do you have to wear a helmet?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't. So I'm very excited for that car. And the plan is when that arrives, I will sell this. And by then, like, I'm looking at different options. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe M5.
Would you ever daily the Aerial?
No, I'm not going to daily the Aerial. I guess weather's one of the
Yeah,
biggest
of course.
things. But
Yeah.
that's the good thing about Australia. Like, I'd say 70% of the year, usually, we have good weather.
Yeah.
No, I want definitely a daily.
Yeah.
Maybe still a Porsche, but I probably don't need the GTS. Maybe just a Carrera S.
Yeah.
Depending what prices do. I mean, the 992.2 is coming out.
Yeah.
And I believe 99% sure that it's just going to be naturally aspirated with hybrid assist.
Okay. Yep.
Which I'm sure it's going to be a great car, but that doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
So my hopes are when that comes out. Sorry, I keep.
No, not at all. No, we're in a workshop. It's
My hopes are that when the .2 comes out,
Yep.
the .1s may pull back a little bit.
Okay.
And just makes it a bit more justifiable.
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, M5, I've been thinking about it for the last 3 weeks.
In that dark blue is
I've never had an M5.
Yeah.
And I've never owned a V8. So that's kind of appealing.
They're massive.
They're big. That's the
huge.
only thing.
They're enormous.
So that's either that, G80, maybe like a S63 Coupe.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a bit too old man for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet. But I've got 6-7 months to figure it out.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, the car landscape can change so much in 6-7 months.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to keep this.
Yeah.
Maybe I even just get this is a 2017, but maybe I buy like a 18 F80.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I'll be happy with any of those options,
exactly.
to be honest. But yeah, mate. So that's the plan.
How do you feel about electric?
So I was in LA in June for a best mate's wedding, and I hired a Model Y.
Yeah.
Wasn't even the dual motor.
Yeah.
But I absolutely loved that thing. It was so fast.
They're good fun, aren't they? Yeah.
My God. No, I absolutely loved it. Would I buy one? I think as purely as a daily, possibly. I mean, coming from like the biggest car nut ever.
Yeah.
But I think they're impressive. There's good things about them. They're very comfortable.
Yeah.
If you like cars, but you're not like car obsessed, I think it's a great option.
For sure.
People love the fact that it's quicker than almost anything on the road. They're dead quiet. I mean, they're obviously cost effective in terms of fuel, but it handled so surprisingly well.
Yeah, they do.
I
And
thought
that was a rear wheel as well.
Was it?
Yeah, well, if it's not, but the single motor's a rear wheel.
Okay, well there you go.
Like a Model 3 Performance is so
I've driven
quick.
one. They're so fast.
So scary.
I loved it.
I was not into it. Tesla as a car, I was like whatever. and then you drive one, and you're like what is this? Like, it's mind-boggling power.
They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually wrote, Sujoy had a P100D.
I remember, yeah.
And that was when I had the M2 Comp, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And we did a pull, and up to 80, of course. And
Of course.
yeah, he
On the highway.
got me for the first, I'd say,
You were in this?
second. No, I was in the M2 Comp,
Okay,
the
yeah.
white one. And then over a certain speed,
Yeah.
I caught him pretty quickly and
Yeah.
then kept pulling. But no, they're rapid.
That low end is so aggressive and so violently instant.
You don't expect it.
No, you don't.
No.
And it just like throws you back.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's definitely a place for it. I think it would be nice to sort of accompany, like a petrol car.
100%. Yeah. I would have one in the garage
Yeah.
if I had 7 spaces.
Yeah.
It'd be in there.
That goes into my next question.
Yeah.
Dream garage. I asked Will this. You're not going to like it. You get 5.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
You get 5.
GT2 RS.
Cool.
Without question.
Colour?
That is, in my opinion, the absolute ultimate.
Yep.
All black, gold wheels.
Okay, cool.
That's me.
Cool.
I would have a Range Rover Vogue, the new one,
Yeah.
just as probably my day-to-day car.
So Vogue or Evogue?
Vogue.
Vogue, yeah, cool.
A Vogue.
Yeah.
No.
I had to check. I was just checking.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So Range Vogue, the GT2 RS,
Yeah.
without question. I would have a...
There's no budget.
There's no budget?
No, there's no budget. No budget, and there's no...
Koenigsegg
you got like
R.
Bugattis or whatever. Yeah.
Koenigsegg
Yeah.
R.
Okay, yeah.
The sound of that thing.
Wild.
Unbelievable. 911 Turbo S.
Mhm.
992.
Yep.
Tuned, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I would, without doubt, I would have an M2 Competition in there.
Yep.
Have full cage,
Mhm.
suspension, just a track.
Yeah.
Is that 4?
Maybe. Yeah.
That's 4. I mean, God, that's the thing when you're as obsessed as we are.
Yeah,
There's so many
yeah,
options.
yeah. You could do 15 and still keep going.
And then without question, a 458 Speciale.
Yeah. Beautiful. Would you go something classic?
I like classic cars. But no, they don't really
Doesn't
do
do
it
a
for
feel?
me. No.
Yeah.
Again, I'm all about, I just want to thrash the thing,
Yeah.
have it sideways, and
Yeah.
there's not many old cars that love doing that.
No, there's not. Do you see yourself in the future with sort of something like this, something like an Ariel, and then eventually with a classic as well? Or
No,
doesn't appeal to you?
No, I mean, I don't think 5's going to be enough, but
Yeah, of course.
5 to 7 would be nice.
Yeah, all right, you can have 2 more.
2 more, yeah. I mean, I think that covers everything.
Yeah.
Like the GT2, I would daily a GT2
Yeah,
RS.
100%.
For me, they are. They're just stupid cars. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people actually, I've heard, they jump from a GT3 to a GT2 and then back to the GT3
Oh, interesting.
because it scares the shit out of them.
Really?
And they can't get the potential out of the car on the track.
Yeah.
The car's limits are so much further
Yeah,
than
of
what these
course.
guys are able to do.
I've only driven one GT2 RS, and it's wild.
I can't believe they actually allowed them.
Yeah,
on the
no, it
street.
doesn't
It's
make
like
any
one of
sense.
those cars.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at like how people can affordably buy a Tesla, which is just the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah.
You compare that. There's plenty of other cars that are just trying to kill you at every single corner.
Oh yeah, but I mean, with the Tesla, you feel so safe. You feel
Yeah,
like
of
you're on a
course.
couch.
Yeah,
But the GT2s are, they're called the Widowmaker.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really is
For a reason.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely made a few widows. That's for sure.
No, I absolutely love that car.
Yeah. Do you do any racing?
Yes, I go to the track quite a bit.
Okay. What's quite a bit, like 6 times a year?
Not since actually. I've only tracked this twice.
Okay.
Like I've done so much over the last 8 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of the hassle of now changing over wheels, and I don't have the time.
Yeah, of course. It's not a short. It's not quick. Like
No.
arrive and then leave.
No,
Yeah.
no. So, but last year I did a full year round of Formula Ford.
Wow,
So the open wheeler race cars, which was fun.
that's very cool.
Yeah, so the Duratex.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was the oldest guy on the grid. They're all 16 to 24.
Yeah.
And they've been racing go-karts their whole life. And there's some really good young drivers out there. It was great fun. I mean, I got close at Wakefield to a second.
Yeah, wow.
But only because it was pissing down with rain.
Yeah.
And 4 of the cars in front of me went off on turn 1. And I thought I was home and hosed, like one lap from the end, and it was pissing down with rain. And I aquaplaned 3 corners later and ended up, towards the back of the grid. But no, it was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I never went into it expecting to win the state championship or anything, but just for the experience.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was great.
Sure, you got a bit more weight on these 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
which doesn't help.
Oh, but they're also, I mean, when your parents are funding it, and it's not your money.
Yeah, of course.
You know, every time you come off, if you, it's already expensive as it is to do the year. I didn't care enough to justify the additional funds if I was to push it.
Yeah.
So I was driving hard, but I wasn't at 10 tenths.
Yeah.
I was like 9 tenths. But no, these young kids are amazing.
Yeah.
And it's very different. Like when you track, and even Tim Beale from Anglo, who I did the track all that year with, like all my analytics, he's like, you can tell you've just raced street cars and driven street cars because everything's so different. Yeah. Right. The way these Formula Fords get the power down, and obviously no downforce on these things either. Yeah. But it's just a very different way of driving and different lines, and so I love, like, I'm very much street. I just love street cars. Yeah. This kind of thing. I just bought like that Atom. Well, it's going to be much more like that Formula Ford.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the straight
dedicated street race car.
Exactly. I just bought that for the genuine thrill and the fun.
Yeah. Do you go to the drags at all?
I've only been a few times. I took my 86. Yeah. Took my 86 there years ago. I took the Golf R there. Mm-hmm. They ran a 12.2, which I thought was pretty good at the time.
Yeah, that is good.
And I haven't been since. Mm-hmm. I will probably go when I get the Atom. Yeah. Just of course. Because, I mean, are you ever going to see an Atom out at the tracks? No, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what was the story with them? They're not road legal now, are they?
They are now. So for years, there's been a couple of guys, I believe, trying to get them into Australia. Okay. And then Ariel made the new car called the Atom 4. Yeah. About 3 years ago it came out. And it's a whole new car, and I believe the safety's slightly improved. But for whatever reason, they've allowed 50 of them to come into the country. Wow. So not many. Yeah. Only 50 coming in. And it was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. It was a raffle. Yeah. There was apparently like 4,000 expressions of interest. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
What that actually means.
Yeah, but, exactly.
I was one of the 50 that got selected to buy it.
Wow.
So I was like, well, if it means I don't get the Porsche, I can kind of buy a Porsche whenever.
Yeah, exactly. Porsches, they're not going anywhere.
If I miss the opportunity to buy this car, you know...
You're going to regret it.
Exactly. Yeah. And not that I have any intention of selling it, but I feel like when something's that limited, probably...
50's 50, you know.
Yeah,
it's not a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, it's crazy because over the last 6 years, I think I've emailed Ariel 4 or 5 times. Wow. Saying, do you guys bring cars into the country? And they always refer me back to this one guy, like Road and Track. And they've never done it. And then all of a sudden, I hadn't thought about them for years. And then I got sent a link by a mate of mine. And I was like, oh my God.
Were there any here for just track purposes?
Yes. So there's only a few. I think there's 2 or 3, but they're only allowed on the track. Yeah. And apparently, I mean, when I say apparently, I've watched all the reviews. They're just out of this world. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing like them. I mean, 580 kilos, 320 horsepower. Yeah. And that's standard, which I don't plan on keeping standard for long. But yeah, I think it's going to be... Well, I'll never have driven anything like it. Yeah. The quickest car I've driven is a Stage 2 720S.
Wow.
Which made 930 horsepower.
Yeah.
That was absurd.
Yeah, that's a serious car.
I actually drove that a week before I flew to Spain, and I drove a Formula 1 car.
Wow. And that's still the quickest you drove?
It's a 720. Look, it was an 01 V10 F1 car I drove, and they don't let you wind it the whole way out to 16,000. Yeah. But even then, like that was the quickest car I'd driven. Yeah. Until, well, the week prior, I drove the McLaren, and I was down the straight. We'd hit about 270 on the straight at Circuit de Catalunya, and I was like, the McLaren is much quicker than this. Yeah. Like that was mind-bendingly fast.
Do you like McLarens?
Yes.
Bit of hesitation there.
Because I think I would break them.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and my mates are all of the same view. Yeah. I don't think they could handle my aggressive. They just seem like they brake and they're a bit temperamental.
Yeah.
But the 720S is a serious car.
Yeah, very, very comfortable, beautiful cars. I'm not a fan of the interior.
I love this.
Interesting.
I love the Alcantara, the suede.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I just don't like the like the thin panel. It's very sort of.
I mean, it's definitely no Porsche quality.
It isn't. Yeah. I find, I don't know, and to only have V8 options, I think is, like, don't get me wrong, great engine, but I like when they mix it up a little bit. You know what I mean? When you have an option between, you know, a V12 or a V10, and you know, I think there's in that caliber of cars. You know what I mean? I think that's a nice option. When it's just sort of V8 after V8 after V8, like I might be wrong. Like, you know, that might be
I
quite
think they just
controversial.
brought out that Tourer, which is a 6-cylinder. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think it is. Yeah, unless I'm getting it confused with the 296 Ferrari, which is supposed to be rapid.
Yeah,
one of my mates. They've driven one a few times.
I think when comparing sort of Lamborghini, Ferrari, and McLaren, I think McLaren's at the bottom of my list from the three of them.
Yeah. I mean, I've driven SVJs, a Huracan Performante, and an STO. The Performante was amazing. Yeah, I did not rate the SVJ.
Really?
I mean, I drove it on track. I haven't driven one on the road. Yeah, and it was just very heavy. I mean, they're so cool. It's such an experience.
Massive cars, though.
Yeah, it's a big car. It's a big car. Eats the brakes.
Yeah. The yachts.
But the Huracan Performante was a great Lambo. But my view is, I don't think Lamborghinis are drivers' cars.
Really?
No.
Why is that?
They're just not built. They're not built for that. They're built for the experience and the looks and it's a poster car.
Yeah. Okay.
In my view, again, my view. Not saying that's correct, but I mean, you drive a Porsche on the road or the track.
That's a dedicated driver's car.
It is on a different level. Yeah. Like the way it makes you feel, the feedback, the handling. You know, it's just meant for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like Lambos. I wouldn't have one in my garage.
Yeah. What about a Ferrari?
I wouldn't. Yeah.
You had one.
I love Ferraris. Yeah. Again, I was in the States, the same trip in June last year when I had the Tesla. Oh, sorry, June this year I had the Tesla. Last year I was there in June as well. My girlfriend's from America, so I go over quite a bit. Okay. She lives here, but we travel a bit there. And I had an F8 Spider.
Beautiful, yeah.
And I rented that for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And the guy had put a straight pipe on it. And he said it wasn't tuned, but this thing was almost as quick as that 720.
Yeah, wow.
Like, it was so fast. Yeah. And I fell in love with that car. It was so easy to drive. It was so comfortable. It could slide like nothing. Like it was like drifting one of these. Yeah,
just easy to get into.
Gear, no problem. Sounded ridiculous. It all sounded shot absurd. Massive flames. Yeah. I after driving that F8, that may actually be, if I had 2 more spots in the garage, because the Speciale's not so much a daily. Yeah. But I feel like that F8 was a.
Yeah,
what a car.
Ferrari's always had a very special place in my heart.
Oh God,
it's always been definitely above Lamborghini. Yeah. Like, look, Performante's beautiful. You know, they definitely have some outstanding models. Personally, though, there's just something about Ferrari that just seems more refined.
100%.
But you're so right about Porsche. I used to actually not be such a fan of Porsche. Excuse me, but I didn't like that they were everywhere, and they all, and it's going to be super controversial, but they basically have made the same car for the last 80 years. In terms of, it's very like there's no,
it's only incremental.
It's incremental improvements, and they all virtually look the same. However, when you get into those bigger models, in terms of your GT3s, your GT2s, your GTSs, they're very, very special cars. I definitely think, especially the eastern suburbs of Sydney, has, I think in the past, ruined a little bit my love for Porsche, my view of Porsche, because it's like, everyone's got a Cayman and everyone's got a Boxster, and it's like, well, I know it's not a 911, but it's like, they're just everywhere. Yeah. Porsche in general, which maybe once was something very special, and I still think obviously those higher models are.
I guess my view on that is when something like Golf R's example,
Yeah.
there was a period of 5-6 years you see them everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
You see a lot of considering
Yeah, of course.
they're expensive
Yeah.
for the average car,
Yeah.
you still see a lot of M3s. And again, you see not a lot of 911s,
Yeah.
but it's because they're so good.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Alfa Romeo, the Quadrifoglio.
Quadrifoglio,
What's the new one called?
Um,
It's like the M3 competition.
yeah. I can't remember, yeah.
Julia.
Julia, of course.
Julia.
Yeah.
Like that car, for example, you hardly ever see them.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them.
8 out of 10 people would rather buy this.
100%.
I like them, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
But again, temperamental. A few people I know that have got them.
Yeah.
Constant issues with them. But a car like that is still a good car.
Yeah.
But they're not that popular because there's a better option.
Yeah, of course.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and there's reasons. They are very temperamental. They're not very reliable.
Yeah.
And I think this is just a way better car.
Yeah, no, I agree. And 911s, I think, are quite understated. Whether you're driving a Carrera or a GDS, which they're almost double the price. You could have a 997 Carrera and a 991.1 GDS, and your average person's going to have no idea.
No idea, yeah.
So I think from that point, they may be appealing to a lot of people
of
that
course.
don't want to be in your face, but still want a nice car.
Look, if you've got Koenigsegg money, you know what I mean, and you get yourself into a 911, you can sort of get away with having something beautiful that's not obnoxiously in your face.
I mean, the Koenigsegg obviously something that's almost impossible, and
of course,
it never happened. So swap me out that for the F8.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Since you're so into Porsches, what's your opinion on sort of the bigger Porsches, the Macans and Cayennes?
I think they're great. I love the Macan.
Yeah.
I think again they're everywhere because
everywhere.
they suit such a wide market.
Yeah.
I love them. They're amazing. They handle like a sports car. They're so practical.
Very practical.
They're a good size. My girlfriend drives a Q5, and I'd much rather have, if she stopped scratching the doors and the wheels, maybe a Macan could be there. But I love the Cayennes as well.
Yep.
I mean, every Porsche is amazing.
Yeah,
they're all quality. They just, you drive them and they just feel so expensive, and everything is just solid.
I like that from the sports cars, you're getting a very purely dedicated designed car, and then from the SUVs you're getting something that's super reliable in a Volkswagen product. I think the people that are buying a Macan or a Cayenne, or even a Panamera, you're getting a I don't say this in a negative way, but a mass-produced product.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing. Like there are 20 million Golfs on the road, and there's a reason there's 20 million on the road, because it's so refined and it's so well done. And I think for Porsche to have to make a mid-size and a large SUV, it had to be something on another platform.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's been so successful. Do you do any off-roading?
No, never been into it. Doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
One of my mates is like heavily into it.
Yeah, wow.
But he's had M3s, M3 CSs, GT4s, and then he's got his four-wheel drive as well.
Yeah.
He raves about it, but I've never.
I find people are so into it.
I don't get it, mate.
Yeah. Look, it's a whole nother world of car enthusiast. It really is. Yeah.
They're probably not into the shit that we do.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's so much money in that, though. People spend boatloads of cash on off-roading.
Yeah.
It's a whole other world. It's not something that we do. We definitely don't have the roof height for anything like that. So it's something that we steer clear from.
I'm probably not enough of a manly man for that stuff. I don't want to be out in the country getting dirty and
Have you been camping before?
Oh, not really. I mean, when I was at school, we went for 6 months, but haven't been since.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it for me.
My missus wants to go. I'm not. I'll glam, but there's a hotel.
Yeah, I need at least 2 showers a day.
Oh yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
What's your all-time favorite car?
Honestly, it's the GT2 RS.
Yeah,
that for me, it's like the holy grail. I drove one for the first time last year in America, and it was how they say that corny line, never met your hero.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I went there expecting to maybe be let down, but once I was in there, it was everything I thought it was going to be, and probably even a bit more.
Yeah.
Mate, that's it for me. That's it.
Yeah.
If I could have one car forever, that would be.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's a fantastic product. It really is.
I just love that. I love that so many people are scared of them.
They
love
are.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really look, all their GT models are scary, but it's the top of them. It's very scary.
No, that's all I want.
Yeah. Have you driven a Taycan?
I have Turbo S.
And what do you think?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Great car.
Would you get a Taycan?
It's actually not I hadn't even thought about it.
Would you get a Taycan over a Tesla?
Yeah, no. Yes, I would.
Yeah, okay.
Again, because of the Porsche.
Yeah, okay, fair
and
enough.
The interior.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
No, it was impressive.
Yeah.
It was fast. I loved that car. I had it for just under 2 days.
Okay.
Like a day and a half.
Yeah.
It was a great car.
Yeah, interesting.
Fast.
Yeah, they're scary, aren't they? I've been in one once.
They do slide a bit too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
like when you just have so much power, it's like
yeah, exactly. It just overwhelms the tires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They can only take so much. You know,
Yeah.
it's there's only so much there. What's your favorite carb?
Favorite carb? Fuck.
Well, is it sweet or savoury?
Mate, nah, definitely savoury.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah. I love like a good meat pie.
Yeah.
You know, I say I'm not a manly man. Maybe I am. No, I love a meat pie.
Yeah.
Or like a good burger.
Have you had the pies from, do you know Infinity Bakery?
No.
Just here?
No.
Serious pies.
If you love your food, have you been to Eat at Rob's in Roselle?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. Best burger I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, wow.
By far.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they're on Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
It's a butcher during the day.
Yeah.
And then it's like after 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit down. You just walk up to the store, the window.
Yeah.
They do these smash burgers. Mate, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Eat at Rob's.
Eat at Rob's. All right.
It's
When I watch this back, I'll
I'll
write it down.
Take your wipes, your baby wipes with you afterwards.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Oh, it's not greasy. No, like you do not feel bad afterwards.
Yeah, but
sometimes you eat food like that and you feel
terrible.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, they're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be it. GD2 RS and an Eat at Rob's burger.
Eat at Rob's,
I'm happy to go, mate.
Mate, let's end it on that.
Done.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's been a pleasure.
I'll pop around again when I've got the Adam.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Done.
Thanks.
Thanks, mate.